All right, so what are the kind of standards of modern news reporting? So objectivity, first and foremost, is a method. That's the easiest way or the most accurate way to think about it, that it's a sort of guiding method for telling a story of what is, what the subject of the piece is. So it involves, first of all, this idea that whoever you are, the journalist writing the story, you take your values and you sort of put them over there. What you are concerned with is figuring out what happened, why, who did it, when and where, right? You are the facts, not your values. And we'll see there is an important place for values to enter the equation in what's called opinion journalism, which very much still exists. But as a method of reporting the news, objectivity, first and foremost, means that the writer is not injecting themselves into the story, essentially. And then, in terms of actual gathering and presentation of information, you have sort of this directive to not comment, slant, or shape the formulation of the news in any way. And so you are meant to present sort of things as they are. And if, you're presenting sort of information about a particular issue, that, all of the relevant voices are represented, that all of the people who have some important kind of input or insight into that thing have been given kind of representation in the story. So especially with politics. And one of the things that you'll notice, maybe it's especially different from the Lincoln pieces, is this cool rather than emotional tone, where you're not sort of trying to paint this like rich picture where it's sort of dramatic. You're just sort of saying what happened, right? So that's objectivity. Contrasted with opinion journalism, which, like I said, really does have a strong place in the world of news still, right? It's very important. This is the same democratic function of journalism, right? Because opinion journalism helps us to understand how our values, or the values of those around us, do map onto the facts as they've been reported in the news, right? Not just what happened, but how we should feel about it. And it's through things like opinion journalism, as well as, talking to people around us, that we encounter the range of viewpoints that exist in a society. And so there's this term, the public sphere, that sort of captures one of the things that makes opinion journalism valuable in a democracy as well, as this sort of deliberative exchange of ideas in public forums like newspapers. Finally, the sort of last modern staple of journalism is this idea of newsworthiness, of determining sort of what's newsworthy and what's not, and what deserves, front page attention and what maybe deserves less attention. So the sort of quick and dirty guide to newsworthiness determinations is this: timeliness, proximity, conflict, prominence, consequence, usefulness, novelty, and deviance. If the story matches one of these or multiple of these criteria, chances are it's newsworthy, right? So if it's timely, if it's happening now, if it's proximate to the community of readers, like if it's close to them, so something happening to SUNY Plattsburgh students, for instance, if there's conflict involved, conflict is, at the heart of all stories, essentially. Prominence, if it involves people who are important rather than, people nobody's ever heard of. Consequence, how likely is it to give us, how likely is it to impact our lives? Usefulness, kind of an extension of that. Can we actually practically sort of gain something from learning about this story? Novelty means, like, is it new? Is it weird? Is it surprising? And deviance, again, is another way of saying that. So newsworthiness determinations involve choices about what is important, to focus on, right? So it means that objectivity comes with this asterisk, that editors of newspapers and the journalists who write the stories are still thinking in terms of what's going to make this seem newsworthy, which is, sort of shaping a story according to a particular value system, according to a particular kind of convention for what gets attention and what doesn't.